So if you notice it in last class, we studied the 4 experiments to understand the properties of particles of a matter. Is it yes or no, guys? Yes.
Sir.
Now, what is the 4 experiment? The first experiment is what? To prove that
The particles of
matter are very, very small. That is the first characteristics of matter. So what we have been done, guys? We have been done an experiment that is dissolved 10 ml, 10 grams of potassium permanganate in how many ml of water?
100 ml of water.
90.
Yes or no? First 100. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, first 100 ml. Later, from that, every time you have to take how much? Taken 90 ml from that
90
100 ml of. Then you have to dissolve in next 90 ml, next 90 ml, 90 ml like that. Then still you can see even though after 5 stages, even 5th stage, 6th stage also, when you keep on diluting, still we can see the remains. We can notice it the pink color. Is it yes or no, guys? Pink color. So it is indicating the potassium permanganate particles are still it is transferring, so that we can conclude that particles are made up of what? Particles of matter are very, 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 very small. That is the first thing. Now, what is the second experiment we have been done? The particles of matter have spaces between them. So to prove that spaces between them, what is the experiment we did, guys?
Sir, sugar and water, sir.
Yeah, between them, we have been dissolved sugar in water, so that we can see if we dissolve sugar in water, is it the water content is increasing, Danishkar? Vardhani? So if we dissolve sugar in water, so the sugar particles will dissolve and will occupy the gaps present between the spaces present between the water molecules. So water level will be remains the same. Is it yes or no? Remains the same. If you are not speaking, no need, Danishkar. I'm saying everybody same thing. Gokul also, Vardhani also. If you are not communicating, leave from the meeting. I don't have any problem. Spaces between them, we can say. Then the sugar in water, dissolving sugar in water is the example of proof that the particles of matter are having spaces between them. That is yes or no, guys? Next, third one. The particles of matter are constantly moving. So the particles of matter are constantly moving. So what is the experiment we can say? Constantly moving. Yes. First one is First one is the stick. What is the stick called as? Incense sticks. Yes or no? Yeah, incense sticks. If you burn one corner of the room, then it will be coming. The smell is coming throughout the room very fastly. Because why? The smell and as well as the fumes is diffusing into home. Diffusion with air, and it will fastly spread throughout the room. That is what incense stick. And as well as curries, when you are preparing in kitchen, the smell will come into other parts of the room. That is what, and other rooms also. That is because of diffusion of that gases. That is what. So it will move rapidly and it will mix with air particles, so that throughout the room we will get it. And also one more example, we studied the same thing. What is that?
Copper sulfate in water.
Copper sulfate. So copper sulfate crystals, if it will dissolve in water, then what will happen? Complete water will turn into
Blue color.
understanding. So copper sulfate dissolve in water. Dissolve in water. So that transparent water will turn into how, guys?
Blue color.
Yeah, transparent water turns into blue color completely because of dissolving of copper sulfate. So that is also indicating particles are keep on moving randomly. So that is what that zigzag motion or random motion only we used to call it as which motion?
Brownian motion.
Brownian motion. You just don't know, only Harish is attending classes. Other fellows simply sitting. That is what. So now that is what. And last one, particles of matter attract each other. To attract each other, so we can prove that matter easily. So what is that based upon? If the more force of attraction, what is that called as? Attract each other. So which one we can say? Example, solids and as well as liquids and as well as gases. So who is having more particles are more attract each other in which one?
Solid.
Solids. That is why solids particles are very close each other, because that force present between them, what we used to call that force? intermolecular force. Understand? So in solids, the intermolecular force is very strong, much more. In liquids, if will come, particles are little for each other. Understanding? And if you take gases, the particles are more for each other. So that is why here force of attraction is less. Here force of attraction is little more. Here very strong. But in solids also, for example, if you take iron nail, understanding, iron nail and as well as chalk. So which one we can easily break? We can easily break the chalk. Why we can break the chalk, Danishkar? Because even though it is a solid, the force of attraction between the particles is what? Less or more? The force of attraction is very low. Understanding? So that is why we can easily break the chalk piece. Iron nail we cannot. Why iron nail we cannot? Because the force of attraction between them is what?
Very
More. Understanding? So that it is not possible to break it. That is what. So the force which is if the attraction force of attraction is greater, then it is very strong. The force of attraction is less, then it is easily breaking. That is what we have been studied. Is it yes or no, guys? This is all what we studied in the last class. Now, in our today's class, we are going to study the next concept is very, very important. That is what? Rigid and as well as fluid. Please all of you write. Rigid and fluid. What is that? Rigid and fluid. Okay. Now, first of all, let us discuss rigid bodies. Okay. Now, if you take any kind of object, for example, I have given object. So objects we can classify it into two types. One is rigid bodies and another one is rigid bodies. Another one is non-rigid bodies. Is it okay, guys? Rigid bodies and non-rigid bodies. Okay. So now any object we can say rigid object or non-rigid object. So let us discuss what do you mean by rigid body and as well as non-rigid body. Shall we start, guys? Yes. Now, let us take any kind of matter or any kind of object if we'll take for example. So now, for example, I will give you one stone. Reddy, I have given you one stone. Let me take now. I will ask you to make it bend or flexible. Is it possible to break or bend or flexible? Anything? Suppose example, I have given one solid stone. I have given one stone. Understanding? So now a stone is given. I ask Reddy to break it into two pieces. Is it possible to break? Break?
No, sir.
Is it possible to bend? Is it possible to bend? Yes, please.
No,
It's
sir.
not possible to break.
No,
It's
sir.
not possible to bend. Is it possible to bend, Danishkar? Are you bending the stones? No, is not possible. Yes or no? That is what we can say. It's not possible to bend means that is what we can say. Unbending. Is it yes or no, guys? Unbending,
Yes, sir.
we can say unflexible. If it is bending, we can say flexible. If it is not bending, then we can say, sorry, not unflexible, we can say inflexible. Okay, so please all of you write it. Inflexible, we can say. So unbending, or we can say inflexible. Now you tell me, what do you mean by rigid body? You can understand easily. What do you mean by rigid body? For example, I have given you one metal container. For example, I have given you one bowl. Is it possible to bend it with your hands? Is it possible to bend? Please let me know. Is it possible to make it into break or unbending? Is it possible to flexible? Make it flexible? Please
No,
respond. No. So that is what you can see. Anything, any substances which is not possible to bend or which are unbending or inflexible, that body, what we used to call, guys? What we used to call?
Rigid body.
Understand? Any object. Understand, Reddy? Vartani? At least start you can understand, Vartani. If not responding, Vartani. If not, no use of attending. You can leave from the meeting also. I don't have any problem. Simply sitting, not writing notes also. What is the use? So what do you mean by rigid body, guys? What do you mean by rigid?
Not break.
A body which is having solid structure. Understanding? Yeah, solid structure. Which is not possible to break or bend, or what is that? Breaking we can, but unbending, understanding, are inflexible. So which is not possible to bend, it is called as solid object, or we can say rigid object. But all the solid objects are not rigid objects. Do you understand what I'm saying? So which is possible to bend. For example, if we'll take rubber, rubber is a solid, but is it possible to bend or not?
We can
It is
bend,
possible
sir.
to bend or not. That is what we used to call as non-rigid bodies. So the bodies which are easily we can bend, understanding, or which are flexible in nature, that is what we used to call as, what we used to call, guys, non-rigid.
Non-rigid.
Understand? So if we take a solid, basically general solid, if we consider solid is a rigid form of matter or not, please respond, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please, everyone. Others also.
Yes, sir.
The solid is a rigid. Why it is solid is a rigid? Because is it the shape of the solid is changing every time or same it is? Let me know.
Same, sir.
Yes. The
Same,
shape of the solid is remains same. Is it yes or no, guys? Yes.
Yes, sir.
So it is not possible to change the shape. That is what we can say. So the if you take any kind of solids, they have tendency to maintain their shape when subjected to outside force. That is what we can say. So even though the reddy is trying to apply the force on the stone, is it the shape of the stone is changing, guys? Is it the shape of the stone is changing? That is what I'm asking. No. So that objects we can say, that objects only what is to call rigid objects. Understanding? So even though when I'm trying to apply the force from the outside, if I'm trying to apply the force, but still the shape of the object is not changing, that object is called as rigid object. Understand, Hari? And the property of maintaining its shape, even though applying the external force, is called as rigidity. What is to call, everybody? Rigidity. Understand?
Rigidity.
What do you mean by rigidity, Gokul? What do you mean by rigidity? The maintaining its property of understanding shape, even though the external force is applied or outside force is applied. That is what it is. So, to maintain the shape when subjected to outside force, understanding. So, that is what we can say rigidity. So, the main identifying characteristics of solid is what, guys? What is the main identifying characteristic? That is what we can say rigidity. Understanding? So by seeing its rigidity property, we can understand either the given matter is a solid or liquid or gas. Is it yes or no, guys? Yes, please respond. So,
Yes, sir.
is liquid is having particular shape, Danishka? Liquid is having any shape? Liquid does not having any shape. Understanding? So not having shape at all. Why? It is particles are for each other, so that if I'll keep in this container, it will acquire the shape of the container. If I'll keep in the cylinder bottle, it will acquire the shape of the bottle. If I'll keep the another kind of bottle, then it will acquire the same type of the bottle. Is it yes or no, guys? Yes, please.
Sure.
That is what. So the shape of the what liquids does not have any shape. Same way gases also does not have any shape. Only who is having the shape, guys? Who is having a fixed shape? Who is having fixed shape? Only rigid objects. Understanding? Fixed shape. Only rigid objects. That property to maintain its shape, even though external force is applied, outside force is applied. That property, what we used to call, guys? Rigidity. You understanding, everybody? Yes, please respond.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
that is what do you mean by rigid? What do you mean by rigid, guys? Simply, if you want to say rigid, means what? Unbending or inflexible. Okay. So that is what we used to call as rigid. Same way. Now you tell me, what do you mean by fluid? Anybody? Fluid. What do you mean by fluid? We are studying next to fluid. What do you mean by fluid?
Bendable and
This don't say me bending. Understanding? It is not. I will give you liquid, Reddy. Is it possible to bend? I have given you water.
No, sir.
Show me the bending. How it will be possible, Reddy? Is it possible to bend the liquid?
no, sir.
No. I have given you gas. For example, I have given you gas. Is it? I will show you. Reddy, bend it into 50 degrees. Is it possible to bend?
No, sir.
That is what. That is different. Non-rigid object is different, and fluid is different. Is it okay, Reddy? Of course,
Yes, sir.
non-rigid objects also change its shape. Understanding? Changing its shape. The objects which does not have particular shape, all will come under non-rigid objects only. So now I am asking not non-rigid object. I am asking about fluid. What do you mean by fluid? Anybody? Anyone? Gokul, not at all opening the mouth. Simplicity. What do you mean by fluid? Anyone? I already
Which
told you.
has no shape.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Which has no shape.
Yeah. Which does not have shape. That's the same thing. Any other thing? Yeah, please respond. Now, if you'll notice, for example, that is what I can say. For example, see, I have given one brick and I have given 1 liter of water. Now you tell me which one is required to store in container, which one we can keep it outside also. Yes, please respond.
Water is
Brick, you
required.
can keep it outside.
That is what. Understanding? So why we have to keep the water in always container? Let me know, anybody. Why we have to keep the
Sir,
water in
because it
container?
Flow, sir.
Yes, that is what the word I want, everyone. I understand why we are storing always water in container or big or somewhere bottle or somewhere. Why can't brick we cannot store in container? Brick is a solid one. Do you understanding? So solid one, its shape
Yes,
is
sir.
remains constant. Yes or no? Shape is constant. So that it can be keep outside also. No container is needed. Understanding? No container is needed to keep this brick because it is a solid object. That is what we can say. It is which object, guys? Rigid object. Do you understand, everyone? But if you take water, always water. If you want to store the water, we need what, guys? Container. Why we need container? Anybody? Why we need container? Because
Sir, or it will flow, sir.
yes, please. Ready? What ready? Because
It
what?
will flow away, sir.
It can flow. Do you understand? It can flow. Because why? It does not have any shape. Now, do you have LPG cylinders in your home? Do you have LPG cylinders? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
LPG
Yes, sir.
cylinder, liquefied petroleum gas, LPG cylinders. Is it open cylinder or closed cylinder? It's a
Closed cylinder.
closed cylinder. Is it yes or no? So now why we are keeping the gas inside the closed cylinder? Why can't we keep it outside? Let me know.
If the outside is flow, sir, it will mix with the air.
If it is outside, it can go anywhere. Is it yes or no? It can fly anywhere. It can move anywhere. That is why always it is keeping in the closed cylinder. Is it yes or no, guys? Please respond, everybody. Yes,
Yes, sir.
that is what. So we are using a word called as flow. So that is what you can understand. So I have given water. Water is a liquid or gas? Water is a liquid.
Liquid,
LP
sir.
say what? Gas. Now you see, both are having common property. What is that? Water also stored in container because it will flow. Gas also closed in container, closed container. That is what it is also will flow. So from that you can understand. So the substances which will flow is called as what? Is called as fluids. Understand? So the substances which will shows the property of motion or flow is only called as fluid. Now you say observe air. Air is a fluid or not? Air is a
Yes,
fluid
sir.
or not?
Fluid.
Yes or no? Why air is called as fluid? Air is called as fluid. Why, guys? Actually, it is a fluid, but actually also we can say what it is. It is a gas actually. So why we used to call it as fluid? Because it will be continuously flow from one place to another place. Yes or no, guys? Yes. That is the reason. So that is what you have to understand. What do you mean by rigid? What do you mean by fluid? So rigid means simply we can say, what do you mean by rigid? Rigid means unbending or inflexible. But fluid means what? Fluid means which can flow easily.
Property of flow.
Which can flow easily, and always we require what? Always we require containers to close it. Understand, everyone? That is what we used to call as fluid. Any doubt, guys? Please
No,
respond. That is so that is what you can take, but you can see water, liquid also we can store in open container, but gas always store in which container? Always gases we have to stored in closed containers. Is it possible to store the gases in open containers? No.
No, sir.
Understanding. So, but liquids, okay, that is what. But liquids also will lead to evaporation. So that is what we can say. Liquids and the gases, both we used to call it as what we used to call it, guys. Liquids and gases, both we used to call it as, both can flow, both need containers to store it. That is why these are called as what we used to call fluid. Understand? That is what. Are you clear, everybody? Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Both need containers and both needs to store. Both can flow easily. That is what we can say. It is what it is. What it is. Fluids. Is it okay, everyone? Now,
Sir.
are you clear? Now let us understand what is the difference between liquids and gases. Now, observe very carefully liquids and gases. Who is having more intermolecular forces? Liquids and gases. Liquids and gases. Who is having more intermolecular forces? Liquids is having more intermolecular forces because particles are little only for each other. But if we take gases, what is happening, guys? Gases, particles are more for each other. Now you tell me. So particles are more for each other. So intermolecular force of attraction is less or more? Ready? Danishka?
Yes, sir.
Intermolecular force is less. Yes or no? That is what will happen. So less intermolecular forces. Now my question is, observe very carefully. Gokul, you also try to speak. Vartini, you also, nothing is going to happen. I don't want anything. You speak first. Now, observe and tell me. Now, for example, I have taken 1 liter of water. 1 liter of what, guys? 1 liter of water.
Water.
What liquid? Is it okay, everyone? 1 liter of liquid I have taken. Same way, let me take now 1 liter of gas. Now you tell me, both I kept at a 1 container. 2 containers, different containers. Now, if I'll pour water, is it will occupy the full container? 1 liter of water?
Yes, sir.
Is it will occupy full container? Suppose you have
Yes, sir.
a big bucket. I pour just 1 liter of water. Is it will occupy full bucket?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
That is what, use mind. That is what I am asking. If you pour water liquid, only it will occupy the bottom surface of the container. Is it yes or no? If I pour 1 liter, just it will occupy only bottom surface of the container. Is it yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please respond. This is what liquid. So liquid will occupy what? Liquids only occupy. Understand what it is? Bottom surface. Understand? Bottom surface of container. Is it okay, everyone? Now, for example, I have released just little gas into this container. Even this container is closed. Why we should close always container? Anybody? Close
It will flow away, sir.
because gases can escape easily. Yes or no, guys? Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir.
So now I released only small amount of gas, but still what is happening? It will occupy only bottom part or complete container. Small amount.
Complete container, sir.
Yes, please respond. It will
Complete
occupy
container.
a very small amount of gas if I release, then also it will occupy complete container. Do you understand, everyone? That is the exact differences between liquids and gases. Any doubt, guys?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Now, that is very important. Gas is a fluid which will forms of matter, which will fill the whole container in which it is kept. Which will fill whole container, which will fill whole container in which it is kept. Is it okay, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That is the difference between gas and as well as liquid. Any doubt, anybody can ask, please. So, fluid means, you understand. What do you mean by fluid first? What do you mean by fluid? Which can flow and as well as what? Need container to store. Is it yes or no? Need containers to store. That is what we used to call it as fluid. But these fluids are 2 types. What is that? One is liquid, another one is what? Another one is gas. So that is what you can understand. So liquid, we can write what? Liquid cannot absorb, cannot fill the whole container. Always liquids will occupy what? Liquids only will occupy the bottom surface. So that is why liquids can be stored in open container or closed container. We can store in open containers. Understanding? We need container but open container. But here if you take gases, they will occupy the complete whole container in which it is kept. That is why always we need what? Closed container. Understanding? So that is why in our home, LPG cylinder is a open container or closed container. Everybody?
Closed container.
Yeah. Understanding? Is the closed container. Is it okay, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please. Note it down. Till here, note it down everything neatly. Gokul, have you understand Gokul?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, very good, Gokul. Do it. That is the difference. So have you understand what is rigid, what is liquid, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Very good, guys. Now that is what. Now I will show you how we can draw a solid. Solid cannot flow. How the liquids can flow. Liquids and gases can flow. That is why whatever they are flow, they are having a property called as flow. That is what we used to call as. What we used to call, guys? They are called as fluids. What we used to call? We used to call fluids. Okay, you can draw this diagram also so that you can easily understand. So the substances which can flow easily, we used to call it as what, guys?
Fluids.
What we used to call? Fluids. Understand?
Fluids.
Now, as we know, the property of maintaining its own shape even though the force is applied, what is that property called as? What is the property called as rigidity? Understanding? So now, same way, this is liquid and gases. So they are showing the property called as flow. So that property is only the substances which will flow is to called as that which can flow easily is called as fluidity. What is to call?
Fluidity.
Fluidity. Understanding? Right. I will say everything. First, write everything till here and draw these three diagrams and write the definition first. Rigidity. All of you write rigidity. Rigidity. Right. The tendency of maintain their shape. The tendency of maintain their shape. The tendency to maintain their shape when subjected to outside force. When subjected to outside force. When subjected to outside force is called rigidity. Is it okay, guys? Is called rigidity. Understand, Reddy?
Yes, sir.
Is called rigidity. Next, down. Fluidity. What do you mean by fluidity? Anybody can tell me?
Which can flow and needs container
Yeah,
to store.
which can flow easily. Understanding? Which can flow easily. The substances which can flow easily. The substances which can flow easily. Which can flow easily is called, what is to call? Fluidity. Okay. Now, what is the examples of rigidity? Examples of rigidity is solids. Examples of fluidity is what, guys? Liquids and as well as gases. Okay. That is what you have to remember. Understand, everyone? Yes.
Sir.
You can see gas particles are coming out from the beaker. Why they are coming out from the beaker? Anyone? Because there are less intermolecular force of attraction so that they can escape out from the container. That is why we need closed container or open container for gases.
Closed container.
Closed container. For gases, we need closed container. For liquids, you can see if I have been taken a beaker and I kept even a small amount of water I kept here, and if you'll see, is it occupying full beaker? It's not.
No,
Yes or no? That is what only bottom part of the beaker is obtaining. That is what you can say liquids. Okay. So this is all about what is solid, what is liquid, what is gas. Now that is what we can say two things. What is that? One is rigid. Another one is what? Another one is fluid. Okay. So clear? Any doubt? Anybody? Let me know. So till here, please, if you have doubt, kindly ask me. Clear? fast. So note it down, what is liquid, what is gas also. Draw the picture and make it. One is open container, another one is closed container. Please make it. I'm giving 2 minutes time. Finish it, later we'll continue. Shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Others? Now, this is what we used to call as rigid and as well as fluid. Any doubt? Anybody can ask me. If not, then we are going to study. The next concept is, all of you write, keep heading, classification of matter as solid, liquid, and as well as gases. Please write. Classification of matter as solid, liquid, and gas. Classification of matter. So classification of matter is done by physical property or chemical property, guys? Classification of matter. So classification of matter, we can classify into either physical or chemical, doesn't matter. Now we are going to make it into physical. So physical, it is classification of matter, three things. What is that? One is solids. Next one is what, guys? Liquids. Next one is what? Gases. Is it okay? So that is what? Classification of matter. So all the classification of matter on the basis of what, guys? On the basis of physical state. Understanding? So the classification of matter is on the basis of physical state. Will be classifying into three things. One is solids, next one is liquids, another one is what? Gases. Okay. Now, anybody can tell me the examples of solids? Ready? Danishka, Gokul, anyone? Vardhani, please respond. Examples of solid. Yeah, please. Book. Very good. Book. That's all. Stone, sugar. Understand? At home you are having sugar.
Human body.
Yeah, human body. Body. You can say human body. Very good. That's all. Any other? Rocks. Phone. Ice. Understanding? Everything. They are called as what? Sand. You can take sand, ice. Everything we used to call as solids. Now liquids. Anyone? Liquids. Oil. Water. Yeah, please. That's all. Oil, water, kerosene, petrol, alcohol, everything we used to call as what? Yeah, milk. We can say milk mainly. Milk. Okay. Kerosene. Yeah, juice, kerosene, juice, petrol. This all what we used to call. That is next. Gases. Example. Gases.
LPG.
Yeah, LPG. Yeah. Okay, LPG. That's all. Oxygen, hydrogen, chlorine, carbon, nitrogen. Understanding? Fluorine. These all the things we used to call as what? Gases. Clear? Everyone? That is what we can say. So that is what all the things we can say. Even carbon dioxide, you can say steam. Understanding? Steam. Okay. Water vapor. That is what we can say steam. Okay, everyone? Water vapor. So all the things we used to call as what is to call gases only. So on the basis of physical state, the matter can be classifying into how many days, guys? The matter exists in three different physical states. One is solid, another one is liquid, another one is gas. So the solids and liquids and gases, they will form of matter. They're having different properties and different characteristic properties of solids, different characteristic properties of liquids, different characteristic properties of gases. So every solid, liquid, gas, everything they are having different properties. So those properties can be used to distinguish between the three states of matter. So what is the three states of matter that all? What are the three states of matter? Nobody knows? Three states of matter. That is all. Very good. That is what? Solid, liquid, and gas. Understand everyone? So the states of matter will be classified. Okay, everyone, is based upon this is what. So based upon the physical properties, the matter can be classifying into how many types? Solids, liquids, and as well as gases. So everything they are having different properties. Solids is having different properties, liquids is having different properties, gases is also having different properties. Okay, guys. Now, shall we study what is the properties of solids? Now, meeting is also going to end. So then we are going to study what is the properties of solids, what is the properties of liquids, and what is the properties of gases very in detail. Okay. Now, keep adding properties of solids, everyone. Keep adding properties of solids. Now, what is the first property of solid? Anybody can tell me? I already taught you. Rigid body. What is that? Yeah, first property that they're having a. Yes, please respond. For example, I kept one brick here. Is it the shape is changing? Shape is changing? No, so that I can say fixed shape. Now, volume.